Our first lesson for tonight, with the theme of this being a Mother's Day weekend, we look at Scripture that talks of the same. From Proverbs 31, I start with verse 28. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the reward she has earned, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. Simple words, as Solomon in his wisdom is led to write, and yet we see the truth in them. We see how beauty, as nice as it is, doesn't linger forever. And charm is nice, but the woman who fears the Lord, there is a woman to be honored and to be cherished. And what a great thing that is to have a woman like that, to have, as most of us, many of us, mothers who have fit that description. Our second lesson for tonight we find in Paul's letter to the church in Ephesus, the 5th chapter, beginning with the 25th verse. This is the second half of a formula that St. Paul has written. He's writing to his people in Ephesus, giving them advice on relationships. The first part, he says, wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. And now he's saying, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. In this same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one ever yet hated his own body, but he feeds and cares for it, just as Christ does the church. For we are members of his body. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will be one flesh. Some might be confused about this. Husbands, as you love your wife, it's as if you're loving your own body. What he's talking about is when two become one, there's no longer separate individuals. And he is saying, when you love your wife, you are loving that one person that you have become together. And he said this is a reflection of the relationship of Christ and his church. Christ as the bridegroom and all Christians as his bride, that he loves and serves her even as she honors him. Our gospel reading for tonight we find recorded in John's Gospel, the 2nd chapter, beginning with the 1st verse. We stand for the reading of the gospel. On the 3rd day, a wedding took place at Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, "They have no more wine." "Dear woman, why do you involve me?" Jesus replied, "My time has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so, and the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink, but you have saved the best until now." This, the first of his miraculous signs, Jesus performed in Cana of Galilee. He thus revealed his glory, and his disciples put their faith in him. So here again we have an account where Jesus' own mother is there guiding and directing, and Jesus honors her, his mother, by by stepping up to the plate, so to speak, as she was hoping.